It's Real Kyper and Bourne on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Welcome to breakfast with Real Kyper and Bourne. I'm Nick Kypreos. He is Justin Bourne. Guest tech, Lance Romance Kennedy.
Lance in the house.
Jennifer Rolnick. Sammy McKee. Did everybody set their alarms a little early? We've got an early start to Real Kyper and Bourne as the Blue Jays will open a 3-game opening weekend against Texas Rangers. Thus the change, and I'm okay with that. You know why? Masters, baseball.
Dude.
We're going straight home after the show, right to the couch.
Man, it's good. You're right. This is wonderful for us. I will say, I'm just going to own it here, Kyper.
Hold on.
All right.
All
Baby
right.
steps, baby
Okay.
steps.
What's up, gentlemen? This is weird.
Yesterday, we had said, make sure, we send messages or we text each other. And let's face it, it was geared towards the guy that had the most concussions. It was geared towards the guy that ended his career with a concussion. I was the guy you needed to worry about not showing up on time for this early show.
Yeah.
And who ended up screwing up this morning?
Listen, Kyper sent a message this morning. Tim's, nice, generous guy. Hey, anyone want some Tim's? Kipper's going to pick one up for the team. And I was like, Tim's. There's 9:15, Kyper. The show's in 6 hours. I don't need a coffee. How early is Kyper going in today?
Where were you?
I was on the couch. I was on the couch in sweatpants with a bowl of yogurt on my stomach, just petting a cat. Just like, oh my God. Booked it in here and made it in time for the tea time.
Thank God. And Sammy, you were good to go. Never wavered.
Never wavered. I was here at 8:30 this morning, chipper, ready to rock. I was up late last night watching the Oilers. I'm just watching the Leafs late, I'm ready to rock. It's Super Bowl today for me. Masters Friday here.
Yeah.
Leaf coming off a big Leafs win. Jays game tonight.
Sports.
New Father John Misty album, which you guys probably don't care about. Sun is shining. Playing golf Sunday morning before the Masters. This is my time.
This is Sam Day.
We're here.
Nice. Nice. And we're welcoming everybody in watching on our Sportsnet YouTube channel, Sportsnet 590, The Fan, wherever you're downloading. Glad you're along for the ride. And what a ride it's been for Austin Matthews, guys. It just continues. I thought his arms were going to fall off last night.
Just hammering away.
Scored the historic go-ahead goal for most goals in a season on his 10th shot.
Jeez, that's ridiculous.
And then the overtime winner on his 12th. A dozen shots for Austin Matthews. Watching that game, long stretch of a 1-1 score, and I can't recall seeing a more tilted game on a 1-1 score.
Oh. It was just, I actually said this to you guys at one point, I felt like the ice was legitimately sloped. Dallas looked like they were skating uphill. You're right about Matthews, though. The amount, I do wonder, how much this chase for records has been in his head, because I can't remember a run of games where he has looked this absurd. You know how many shots he has in the last 3 games? 27.
Yeah.
9 shots per game. He's got 12, then 8, then 7.
I don't know, but I'm just asking you guys about his shots last night. None of them seemed out of context of the game or of his usual play.
No, he's just zoned in.
The puck is on; it's following him around the entire game.
There wasn't a sense of jamming a square peg in a round hole.
No, he's just.
There was not that. It was just. It felt natural. It didn't seem like it took the Leafs out of their game plan or it affected anyone else around him negatively.
Mm-hmm.
It just, to Sam's point, felt very natural, which is a great sign.
It is. And, obviously the way he's working with Marner and Marner's ability to find him. I mean, Matthews even found Marner a couple of times. Like, it just looks like every time they're on the ice that the other team is hanging. You know what it reminds me of? When Mike Tyson, if you ever watched Mike Tyson's first like 10 or 15 fights, I think you can watch his first 20 fights in a 30-minute show. Like
They were over in 90 seconds.
It's a real thing. I remember watching a 30-minute thing, and it was like Mike Tyson's first 20 fights. And people are like, they know they're about to get their ass handed to them, so they're backpedaling the whole time. That's the other team when Matthews and Marner are on the ice right now. Like, they're just retreating into a shell, panicking. The way that Tiger used to beat guys without having to beat them, and they beat themselves. That's how defenses look against Matthews Marner right now. They're reeling. They know these guys are coming and just waiting for the inevitable.
As far as what he's going through right now, like, it's got to be a real consistent feel for any athlete in history chasing anything. Gretz must have felt the same way when he's chasing his. Well, it's constantly on the brain. But the key is, I guess, to look like it's not bigger than the team. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but
yeah.
I really liked last night's game for that reason.
Yeah.
And that's what the Stars have to go through. Tennis, Federer chasing grand slams, whatever the case is, that's always going to be there for these athletes.
Right.
But in this particular case, how do you do it and not affect the team?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, in junior, how many goals did you score the 1 year?
Yeah, I scored 62, and I was chasing Bob LaForest's record, I think, of 59.
And how aware were you of the 60 marker, of the 59 total?
Yes.
As you went down the stretch?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And so was my centerman at the time, Rob Degagne, and the rest of the team. But I wasn't one to overhandle the puck. The big joke with my coach, the late Bert Templeton, was, don't give Nick the puck until he's in front of the net.
Shoot it.
Until he's in front of the net.
Yeah.
Whereas you got a different feel because Matthews is such a great stick handler. And again, I mean, did you watch him undress Radulov about 3 feet into the blue line last night? That the hands
Yeah, he took the pass behind him and kind of pulled it to the yeah.
And that wasn't me. So listen, I wanted that record more than anything. It came out of.
Was your team good at the time?
Yeah, we were a top team in our division. It was a record that was a franchise record, I believe, out of Niagara Falls. So we had moved up to North Bay,
right?
Maybe about 6 years before that, but people constantly reminded me that you're going to break the record, and there was a sense of, why would I want this opportunity to slip here?
Well, yeah, and everyone tells you you're close, you're going to do it, and it's like you haven't done it till you do it. That's like Matthews, and even getting to 50 has felt inevitable a couple times, and it just hasn't happened. So
I have an observation about Matthews because we talk about he's a pretty cool customer. Like the overtime winner, he does this the Sally, like the "Are you not entertained?" Sally, puts his arms in the air, just giving the little "come at me" to the fans. Love that. But his favorite kind of goals to score are the one-timers. Yeah. That's the ones where he gets the biggest. I mean, I know he broke the record last night. That was part of the reason he did a big celebration. But I always notice with him that the one-timers are the ones that he like. Is that like I don't think I've ever scored on a one-timer in my life. But it looks like it feels pretty good.
Cathartic, right?
The ones historically, Stamkos, Ovechkin, the goal that he scored to set the record at 55 was a common place where Draisaitl is even lower
in the zone there,
even closer to the goal line than Matthews. But that one, and Wedgwood was really good last night.
He was.
Like he did everything.
He could have had 5 goals, Matthews, last night.
Yeah.
He did everything he could to just fight off Matthews. And it's not like he knows, it's not like he doesn't know it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it was Gio who sent a beautiful pass just on the inside of his
I love wearing
foot.
55. He sets up 55.
Pillowy.
I love that.
Right?
Pillowy.
And
you know
yet,
what? Morgan Riley waits for an extra second
It
before
is.
he gives it back. He does.
there's just no chance for any goalie, whether it is Ovi or Austin last night, that you can cheat any more than they already are trying to.
Right.
It's not like you don't know it's coming, and it's not like you don't know Matthews is to the left of you.
I think he just shot from there a second earlier.
But any type of cheating, and you're caught on the other side.
That's a new element this year, though. I know he's scored one-timers in the past, but this year it feels like a legit threat. That one last night just made me give the stank face, just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, he just hammered it.
It almost went through the net.
Yeah.
Like, it was just really hard shot. I don't know. It just, once again, just reminded how lucky Leaf fans are right now.
Now,
It
I
happens.
know, and I know it's 3-on-3, and I know there's a ton of room out there, but the overtime goal was very Connor McDavid-like.
Yeah. Right. Just skate faster than everyone, use the open space, and take it across the crease. Yeah.
Take a look at Sagan backpedaling, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to dust this guy. And Sagan was dusted. He had no idea what to do. He
That's
hacked
when
at
you
him.
just...
Sagan was awful.
Yeah, that's where you just chop.
Yeah.
He
Just
tried to chop. But
chop.
Matthews is
Yeah.
too fast and strong at that point. He's got a full head of steam. Like, I don't think Matthews does not fall down anymore.
He has learned. Colby Armstrong was texting Kyper and I last night. He excluded you because he doesn't like you.
That's fine.
But he was texting us last night just saying Matthews has learned how big he is.
Yeah.
Like he has figured out, like, oh, I'm just a larger animal.
When I covered the 2016 World Cup, and he had yet to play a game in the National Hockey League,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing I noticed is how big and strong he was at that age.
Yeah.
And he was tipping the Toledo at 220, I think.
I think he was bigger
It's
then.
225.
And he's like leaner now.
Before playing a game in the NHL. And here he is, now he's 24?
Yeah.
And
He's that, but
he's
muscle.
now he's coming into his prime.
Yeah.
Now it's all man, muscle, size.
Yeah.
And now he's figuring it out on the ice. And in many ways, like a McDavid, he can be unstoppable at moments.
In the 2016 Leafs development camp, Matthews and Marner were there, and I was the video coach. So I'm on the ice during the practices with like an iPad and recording stuff for players to watch after. They needed an extra body or two. So I was supposed to put like an elastic band around Matthews' waist and do like the V stop and just like offer resistance to Matthews trying. It just about broke my nose. Like just like a horse plowing a field. I got the full stops on. Like wish I had sharpened
You
it.
did it all for them, didn't you?
Yes. My role was tough to define because I was the guy who did things other people didn't want to do.
Did you have to start his car in the winter?
If I had been to the Leafs, not the Marlies, probably. But it was a cool experience just to get the sense for the size. Like, my God, it's just a large man at a young age.
Must be nice for Sheldon Keefe, certainly to be a part of that. We saw him talk to him moments after the goal. Let's figure out what Sheldon Keefe said on our first Kippers Clipper.
I mean, I just told him it's a great accomplishment. I mean, this Leafs organization's been around a long time. A lot of great players. It's pretty special for him to be at the top of that list.
That's it.
Certainly is.
Yeah. I mean, for Sheldon Keefe, it's a feather in his cap too, right? To put a guy in the position to have that success and pair him with Marner, despite people like me saying don't do it, make him drag a line of a couple of schlubs.
Part of the experience of being disappointed year after year in the playoffs for guys like Matthews and Marner is to identify, what this all means and put it in perspective. I think the best quote I heard last night out of Matthews is, "We are working towards something bigger than this." And to me, man, that hits it right on the nail. I love hearing that.
Yeah, he's
that is a
getting older
sign
and
of
wiser.
leadership. That's a sign of maturity. And as I told you clowns a lot earlier in this year, it won't matter to a guy like that now, or true fans that understand what the biggest picture is here, and that's winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So that is what he is speaking of what is bigger than this.
I love it. I love that, and I love that point. And I think was it you, Bourne, that said this, or you, Kyper, that getting this stuff out of the way this year like maybe getting 60, having the all-time Leaf goal record really sets him up for the rest of his sort of career here in terms of
Now just go win.
And now it's like, the personal things are the way, which I really do get the feeling that Matthews, he's a pretty cool customer, and like he kind of just expected this, and his goals are bigger, like you were saying. Like he just expected to break the goal record.
Yeah.
He knew it was going to happen, and now he's got bigger aspirations, which I love to hear as a Leaf fan.
Yeah, and this is where I think a guy like Brendan Shanahan behind the scenes can remind a Matthews and a Marner that, guys, this is great, and being a Leaf is great. It's been great for anybody between 1967 to our team today, where you can be treated great. You are a star. You book reservations different than everyone else.
Yeah.
You get the star treatment, and that can make anybody comfortable. But you don't want comfortable.
That was blue and white disease.
You want something that nobody's had since 1967. And that's be able to hold your head up high in this town as a Stanley Cup champion. That is the differential. That is going to set you up the rest of your life. I'm close to 30 years away from a Stanley Cup in 1994. I go down there. People are still picking up the tab for us when we walked into, McSorley's.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Is that the Irish pub right across the street? It's a good one. From MSG there.
That's what those guys want.
Yeah.
And again, it's great when you can the 60 goals, the 65, 67, man, that's whipped cream.
Yeah.
That's the cherry.
Well, you're
but
right,
it
though.
ain't the ice cream.
Or the cake.
Yeah.
Pumpkin pie.
And you say if you're Shanahan, it's like, we're going to honor Sidney Crosby and all his records and Mario Lemieux and all his records and Gretzky and all. And you know why? Because they got to the highest peak, right? They got there. They all won the championship at the end of the day. Imagine if LeBron set all these records and then he didn't win a title. People would be like,
So you mentioned Sid there, and I don't think
Durant.
Yeah, it's when you talk about Sid, you don't talk about his point production. You talk about champion. You talk about
I don't even know
winner.
where he is in points.
Me neither. You talk about gold medal winner and
memorable moments.
And you don't really even talk about his point totals. And for Matthews, obviously the point totals are impressive this year, but I think he wants to get to a point where he's talked about as a champion as opposed to just scoring a lot of goals in the regular season.
All right, let's go back to Sheldon on his thoughts on Matthews' impact on the team.
Yeah, well, I think the best part of what Austin's doing is that he's doing so in a winning environment. And he's doing things to help us win games. The goals, of course, are part of it, but he does so many other things, that help us win games and help us carry play and all of those things. So, our guys are they're focused on being as good of players as they can be with the games that are on the schedule here. But, they also know that, this team's trying to push to the next level, take a step, so the regular season accomplishments are part of that journey. These are the games you have to play, and they're making them count, but they know what we're building towards.
And you can see that again. And I know we talked a little bit about what kind of game we can expect against Dallas.
Oh, I could not have been more wrong, by the way. I'm going to take the L here publicly.
Listen, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time.
No,
we just
not that worried about it.
But in all seriousness, they came off what should have been, internally a very disappointing overtime loss against Florida, where you let a top team like that off the hook up 5-1.
Right.
I thought last night's game, the energy that they had, and more importantly, the ability to look at the clock at 1-1, and maybe there could have been in the past a sense of frustration that it's 1-1, possibly open up a little bit more, possibly make some bad decisions, and it didn't feel that way. It just felt like they were managing, and they didn't have to now force anything, even at 1-1, guys.
I love that point.
No force. Just stay with it here.
Yeah.
So nothing changed. Nobody went out of their lane. Nobody tried to do anything too risky.
Yeah.
And they just waited for the big boy to get his opportunity.
And this has happened to me in the postseason, or in my opinion, to the Leafs against Columbus and against Montreal, where they were clearly the better team in a lot of games. And they would pump teams and take it to them and pound and pound and pound. Goaltender makes a bunch of good saves. It doesn't go in. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it's frustration or what, but they start to go, we need to take more chances then and to do more offensively to get that goal. All of a sudden, guys cheat. You know, they start sniffing around for something too much. Rush goes the other way and it's in your net. And so you're right. The ability to maintain that game plan, just trust that don't let them get theirs and we're going to get one next. That is a mindset. I still don't want to see Justin Hall running a scissor play with, Mitch Marner with 3 minutes left. Like, just stay in the blue line. You're up 3-2. It happens, but I think they're getting better in that regard.
Let me ask you this. This is maybe an impossible question to quantify, but I'm going to ask you guys anyways, put you on the spot. Do these guys look something about the way they roll 4 lines at the moment? There's this hunger to them that I haven't seen maybe even earlier in the season and years past. Just the pursuit of pucks, the commitment to getting in on the forecheck. It really looks like a faster, hungrier team than it has in years past.
Yeah. And I've been praising this all year. They are the best forechecking team in the league. And what you're seeing now, though, Sammy, is guys like Engvall and Mikheyev at the top of their game as well.
It makes a huge difference for their depth that those guys are good.
So now, like, just think about, like, the confidence right now. Like, Engvall, to me, looks like a big horse out there now.
Yeah.
Now, when I think about playoff hockey and about the leaning and the wearing down your opponent, Engvall's got more of that look than he's ever had before. And Mikheyev as well. And I'm telling you, again, if maybe we go back to the cross-check, the 2-game suspension on Matthews, but I'm seeing a more physical Toronto Maple Leaf team. I'm watching Marner hit guys along
Marner's
the wall
running into
now.
people out there.
No. And he ain't
strategically.
He is not, but he's not this little frail, kid. He is.
He's 6 feet, 190
there's
pounds.
some meat there. And he is now understanding that, hey, maybe it's better if I just, initiate instead of just waiting for something to happen, maybe against me or anyone else. Let's just go out there and stir it up a little bit. And they've got more of a playoff look last night. Again, Tampa Bay, they had it. Early parts of Florida, they had it. It slipped. But you're starting to see a team now, I think, getting ready for game 1.
Yeah. The Lyubushkin being in the lineup gives them just, I know he's not a perfect player, and I don't think he's a top pair guy necessarily, but like he's just someone who runs into the other team all the time.
Who did he hit on the penalty? Who did he run into? He took a penalty. Sorry?
I think it was Raffle.
Yeah, loved it.
But I didn't even think it was.
I
really
don't
a
care.
penalty.
I don't care if it's a penalty or not a penalty. It's a good hit. It's a hit that makes people look at the Leafs going, "Oh, wait a second, that guy's
They're allowed
hurt.
to do that too?
He needs maybe a trainer to get off the ice. He hurt his thumb good. Let them go off the ice hurt, not us."
Right.
And penalty kill. Lyubushkin taking a guy and hurting him along the wall, making him feel a little pain. Yeah, we'll kill that all day long.
He's a third pair D-man. They have one. They have one now, or even like, where's that? I don't want to use. I know Roman Polak has a tough reputation here in some cases, but he's a guy like that, right? He'll run into you, cross-check you in front of the net.
It's uncanny how much Lyubushkin is like Roman Polak.
Do they wear the same number?
Wears the same number.
And
has that hunched over skating style.
They got rid of Roman Polak because they hated him.
Wow, he got hurt bad.
No, really listen to me.
No, he was shutting.
They did not like him. They thought he was detrimental to the team.
He was after he broke his leg horrifically against the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, he wasn't
but
a
those
Dubas
guys, and if you want to call it a poor man Gudis,
yeah,
okay, you need one of those guys.
Yeah,
absolutely need one of those guys.
Butcher.
You know what, Kyper, I was behind the scenes enough to know that you're right, that Polak was not someone who was in favor with Dubas and numbers and all those guys. But I was in the room when DJ Smith saw Lou Lamoriello walk by and goes, Lou, calls Lou in. and says Polak was not on the team, they'd send him to I don't know, Ottawa or somewhere. And he's just, you got to get Polak back. We need someone to kill penalties. You got to get me Polak back. You want him for his PK. And, guys like that wanted that type of defenseman, DJ Smith, and a guy like Dubas, that wasn't his type of guy. I think Lyubushkin does enough of the things that satisfies Dubas while having some of those qualities that other player or coaches like.
The other thing that is very similar between the two of them, once in a while, Roman Polak would think he's Bobby Orr, and he would take the puck up the ice and get it in deep or get a shot on net. Lyubushkin has way more of that to him than I thought he did, where he will rush it up a little bit. He'll kind of get in a little deeper than I expect, and I'm like, maybe just play, I know you're playing with Morgan Riley. You're watching him do that. Maybe you do the opposite of that, Ilya. But anyways.
6 wins in the last 7 games. So the Leafs certainly finish off a strong road trip. Let's get Sheldon Keefe's thoughts on now maybe coming home.
I thought that we did a really good job in that second period of establishing our game. And, wasn't easy to get to their net, just the way that they set the game up. But it's a good way to finish off the, it's a difficult road trip here for sure. One that, we've been looking at for a while as being one that would be a challenge for us. So to come out of it and not lose in regulation, to pick up 7 points it's a good trip.
Sheldon Keefe getting more pillow talk to anyone else, or is it just me? Soft, whispery.
I'm tired.
It's just
He talks like the media so much. It's amazing how gracious he is.
Sounds more tired than the players.
He's just like, the boost is pretty good. We're all right. So Matthews says a lot.
That's all right. He acknowledged it's Austin's night, so he didn't have to talk on his average 13 minutes.
He only did 7 last night.
He only did 7.
So I think it's pretty what he said there. It's a big deal to give them credit for this road trip because, like you said, it was great against Tampa. They kind of got squirrely against Florida.
Yeah.
They beat Philly in a game that Keefe hated, and then they played last night. They played great, but it's a pretty big sort of statement road trip from a team that had this one circled for a long time.
I mean, they just went into Dallas, Florida, Tampa Bay, Philly, and left with 7 of 8 points.
Yeah.
It's tough to go home and tell the boys that anything other than great job.
Now the thought is, you worry about it's very common in the National Hockey League. Great road trip. Bit of a letdown, Montreal Saturday night.
They wouldn't lose against Montreal on a Saturday.
Well, let's ask Sheldon Keefe. Let's go back to a Kipper's Clipper on facing Montreal Saturday.
Well, what I've really learned is in a lot of ways to treat the first game back like it's part of the road trip, actually. Because, you really don't get to get home. You get to sleep in your bed, and then we get we get our fans, which is great. But in terms of where you're at mentally and the grind of it, you still have to approach it as though you're on the road. In that sense, it's really an extension of it. It's not like you go home and get an off day and really get settled. I don't know what time we're going to land tomorrow, but it's going to be dinner time basically by the time we get home. And then we're going to wake up, go back to the rink, and prepare for a game again. So that's essentially what we do when we play on the road. So from that sense of it, we just got to keep the same type of mentality that we had and how we played here, and get the boost from our fans. I'm sure they're going to welcome Austin back, and it's going to probably feel a lot like what it did when he got 50, and all those kind of things, should help us deal with any sort of fatigue that we might be dealing with.
This is, for me, this is the new world, the new era with the sleep doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So here they are. They're coming off this successful road trip. They're, you're feeling great. I know from personal experience, you just want to get on the plane and go home.
Yeah.
Okay. But they spend the night in Dallas, and they're going to leave in the afternoon, and they're not arriving till 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's weird.
It stinks.
I would much
I
rather.
agree with you. That sucks.
that's the last thing I want to do.
I get
is spend
the
another
idea.
night in Dallas and travel all day.
And you know what else? Because you're staying in Dallas, and you're not playing the next day, you've had some success, the boys probably go out.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I'm sure they all went to bed at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, they got a night off. Like,
Matthews just set the record.
Yeah.
They finished a road trip. Like, they're in Dallas.
the
There's no
fellas
chance they didn't go
the
out.
fellas strapped on their boots and their hats, and they went out on the town in Big D.
Even if they just went somewhere for dinner and had 14 bottles of red, which is the NHL version of going and getting weird.
Yeah.
So
They
you're-
do it in a classier environment.
You're already placing your bets on the Montreal Canadiens Saturday night?
I like the idea, though, that it's a part of the road trip, because he's right. What you do on a road trip is you play the game, you sleep, you pack up, you go somewhere, you unpack, you play, and that's all you're doing. You get home, you unpack, you sleep, you go play. It's part of that. And then once you're after that game, home, right to bed, you can settle. But I like the Dalai Lama-esque manipulation of that.
I'd suggest wearing your road jerseys. I don't even know what a road jersey is anymore. Is it the third, the fourth, the fifth?
Whatever Dallas were last night is,
This is just such a massive overthink. Just get on the friggin' plane and come home.
That's me. This is where it's just overthinking,
Yes.
and there's somebody in that building that just is going to be the smartest guy in the room right now.
I got it.
Which-
He's like, I got an
only reason
idea.
I'm
and,
hearing
and this is why you're paying me like 150 grand a year. So I can tell you to stay on that crappy mattress one more night in Dallas.
After
Right?
25 Michelob lights.
Way better that the boys are hungover.
the only reason I'll hear it is it's not like they played in like Chicago or something. Like Dallas is what, a 3-hour flight probably?
Oh,
I would have no idea.
yeah, it's a good
That's
town.
it's a good town, but it's
I've
a
actually
long
heard it's
flight
underrated spot to go.
It's
There's places to go in
fantastic.
Dallas.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I have no complaints about Dallas.
Yeah, so maybe the boys were like, yeah, sleep, we'll stay. But so what? Oh hell, I had something very important to ask you guys. Now I don't remember. Oh, do you care about 60 for Matthews?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a good number, and it's
We can turn it
Just
off
as
after
long
that.
as-
The pursuit
as-
of numbers.
every goal is going to be a new celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as it looks a lot like Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then go for it.
Yeah.
Like that's what that drives these guys. I don't know. You probably know this. They got big egos.
Have you ever watched?
They got an ego.
Yeah, I think so. Have you ever watched the F1 series Drive to Survive?
I heard it's fantastic.
It is, and the exposure to the ego of the drivers is stunning. It's like,
Yeah.
my God, like these guys really believe they're whatever. But let's be real. Like you talk to some of these great hockey players, our culture makes it so they can't say the things they think about themselves. Like you're not allowed to go in the media and go, well, I'm probably the best goal scorer. I'm better than Ovechkin at scoring goals. Like Matthews can't say that. He might think it.
I think there's a better chance than just, he might.
Yeah. So I agree that he doesn't just want to get past 54.
Yeah.
You know what's wild too is we were doing the show last Friday. You weren't here and Gunning was in. We were celebrating 50 for Matthews.
Yeah.
Well, 56 today.
It's a week.
Yeah.
6 in a week.
And that's still a magical number for the National Hockey League.
50.
It still brings in Rocket Richard and Bobby Hall and that,
More than half the games you're scoring.
right?
A lot of guys score 50, though. 60 is a different conversation.
I think only 12 players ever.
Yeah, like
Ever.
60 puts you from being an elite goal scorer to
Yeah.
One
an
of the
all-time
all-timers.
Historic.
elite. Yeah.
A historic number. And, you factor in that bit of a slow start, a 2-game suspension.
Actually, really slow start. I remember being on the show, Kyper, and saying, could Matthews still catch Ovechkin? Because Ovechkin had 9
But
when Matthews had 1. I think.
also remember on our show, we said he's the type of guy that can score 12 and 12 games and get himself right back in it.
And then
50
he
and
did
50
and then he
coming
did
up for
49
Montreal.
and 49.
Right?
Yeah, like I actually wonder if that's meaningful to you guys at all, like getting to 50 and 50,
Like-
even though it's like the Tiger Slam or something like that, where
Yeah.
it's like he still got all 4 championships at once. He still scored 50 and 50.
So now we're talking about a guy that should be in the ballpark when it's all said and done around 70.
He's on pace for
plus.
65 right now.
He's on pace for 65, but take away a little bit of a slow start, take away maybe even the 2-game suspension, and you are legitimately around a 70-goal season.
For a healthy year. It's pretty baffling stuff. Do you want to do Jack Campbell, Willie Nylander's first even strength goal in 12 games?
Yeah,
D pairs. We have lots of stuff.
Yeah, Nylander.
Okay.
Because, again, you watch him, every night he can do things that other players can't. Did you get enough of it?
I liked him last
Probably
night.
not.
In general, you don't, but I liked him last night.
Yeah, no, much better.
Yeah.
More engaged, hungrier, wanted the puck more.
The game before, he won some of those pucks on the power play that you liked.
But here's the problem, is that as much as you'd like to think that maybe Sheldon rattled him a little bit, changing his line, I've seen enough of these guys, played enough with these guys. I played with his father. At the end of the day, you are just at the mercy of this guy will march to his own drum. And when he wants to go, he can go.
Mm-hmm.
And when he doesn't, you kind of have no other choice but to wait patiently until he does.
Like trying to walk a bulldog. They just sit their ass down in the street and you're like, come on.
That's got to be scary as a coach. When you just have a guy that you know is filthy, but you just don't know.
You have no choice.
Was Kovalev like that?
But to sit and wait for it. Kovalev got better. He got better as we went along, but he got better because Mark Messier and Kevin Lowe and a few of the veterans would, nudge him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Matthews in Nylander's ear, Marner, could they go up there and we need you?
I'd love to know.
Got to get going.
Their dynamic.
Because that's what Mark would do for Alex. He would remind him every day how important he is and how we cannot win without him.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew with his talent.
Yeah.
Very much kind of the same way as Nylander. You're like, oh my God, these guys could be one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
And yet you wait. And then what happened in game 6 in the conference final? We're struggling. Keenan switches off Steve Larmer, puts Alex with Messier and Graves. And then the rest is history.
Moon.
Right? And that's Nylander. So when push comes to shove and the Leafs need something done, Nylander ain't going to be on the third line.
No, I agree. That's a great point. Like right now, they look so good with Nylander in the third line, but the second you're down, I mean, the first thing you do is give him more opportunity. I think it's important to remember, and this will be the case come playoffs, is every team that wins the Stanley Cup has moments where it's not working in the playoffs. And things need to change, and they're down, and it's a line shuffle. You need to have options to go to next. Having Alexei Kovalev in a position where you can elevate him is obviously nice. The Leafs do have that somewhat with Willie. I am curious to see if they're sold now that he's going to start in the third line, though, because they've been so good since Tavares and Nylander have been separated.
I'm okay if he bounces him around a little bit, keep him guessing, whatever the case is. But as long as
he still gets PP time,
as long as you've got Matthews and Marner clearly at the top of their game, Tavares still isn't probably scoring as regularly as he'd like, but he certainly still has a presence around the net and is hard on pucks, below the hash marks. Engvall, Mikheyev, as long as they're all going, then there isn't the need or the focus to go to Willie and bust his balls,
True. Yeah. The heat doesn't have to fall on him directly.
His goal last night was so weird. After Jack Campbell gets run over and he goes down, it looks like he was almost hurt, and the puck goes down the other way. They thought the play was stopped. They got the music playing. They got the, like the spotlights going.
Shoots it in the
and he
hockey
just,
net.
Bing, off the post it in. He's like, I don't know. Does it count? I don't know. And then, we scored. There you go.
Did you like Jack last night? Only saw 18 pucks or something. I don't really blame him for anything.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Jack just needs to be good enough and make the saves he's supposed to make.
Yeah.
And then you let that offensive machine get going.
Yeah.
So, there's a comfort zone between Jack at 940 save percentage and Jack at 886.
Right. And like a game like last night, I feel like is good for Jack. Like you were in the game, you got the win, you guys win one in OT, you weren't asked to do too much, you made some saves.
God, how about that tip by Pavelski?
What is that guy's deal?
That was
He's a
just
freak.
sick. It was going 5 feet wide, and he's reaching around a body.
He leads the league
tips it in.
in
It's amazing.
deflection goals every year.
Not much you could do on that, right?
Yeah,
No,
Or Jack
zero.
and
Yeah.
Brody.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no one on the Leafs that I was like, Brody should have had a stick up. He did.
Tip the cap.
You know?
18 guys have scored 60.
18 guys have 60. Thank you for that.
Gretzky, Hull, Mario, Phil Esposito, McGillney, Timu Solani, Curry, Bernie Nichols, Bossy, Landy McDonald, Ovechkin, Yzerman, Reggie Leach, Stamkos, Bure, Lafleur, Steve Shutt, Baruch.
Oh my God, what a group. I no
Elite
disrespect to this
class.
guy who we talked about once before, but Dennis Maruk being like,
Hello.
hey, hi guys.
Nice, eh? That's a nice number.
But that's a big list of players.
Yeah.
If you're on that, like that's a pretty special.
And I don't know if it was mentioned, and I didn't hear it, but quietly now Matthews, the highest scoring U.S. born player in history.
I know that was so undersold. In a single
in a single season?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
but Hull, but he's born in Canada.
Kevin
Yeah.
Stevens and
Joe Mullen? No, we just did Joe Mullen.
No, I don't think it was Joe Mullen.
I can find this out in 10 seconds.
All right,
'cause
we're
we
going to
talked
get
about
that
it last
name
night.
after the break. We got to take a little time off here, pay a few bills. Doug McLean will make his Friday regular.
Jimmy Carson.
Jimmy Carson. Nice.
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah.
We'll get Mac. Is Mac up? Did anybody check up on Doug McLean?
I haven't
Max went
talked.
up for 5 hours.
He
The
would have he would have done yoga by now,
The only
right?
time I talk to Doug McLean is when I call him. You talk.
All right, we get a little Mac attack. We'll get his thoughts on Matthews and Marner's dominance. We'll talk maybe Doug Wilson in San Jose, a guy that he went toe-to-toe with in terms of being general managers, and maybe even an Ottawa Senator talk.
All right.
You are listening and watching Real Kyper and Bourne.
Real Kyper and Bourne on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Hope everybody's enjoying our earlier version on this Friday. Real Kyper and Bourne. We got the Jays and Texas Rangers going. Thus, the shift a little earlier.
I think the morning show did the question, would you rather, if you could only keep a pair of superstars, Matthews and Marner or Vladdy and Bo in Toronto?
Wow.
I know. Actually, they included Pascal and Fred, and it was like, all right.
Yeah.
That's...
Hey, Vladdy and Boy, we really enjoyed you guys. See ya. Scram.
Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Hey.
Yeah. Fair enough.
We've had a World Series that a lot of us still remember. The Stanley Cup is the one everybody in this city's truly waiting for.
I know we're biased on this show, but you're right. That argument alone is enough. Like
That's it.
Sammy just got a picture with Joe Carter.
And it just may be, I'm sorry, but a Canadian thing here.
Yeah.
Because we are starving right now. We'll take, well, you want the Leafs, but even a Canadian Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I do for Sportsnet. But like, I don't know. You want to see the Canucks win a cup here in Toronto?
Listen, your first choice is the Leafs, of course.
If you had to power rank
show.
the teams in Canada, the top 7 or anyway.
All right, listen. Part of the charm of going early today is this afternoon we get to go on the Doug McLean program where we literally can do anything we want the rest of the day.
You and me head-to-head pickleball?
I don't think I'm going pickleball. Yoga, I would consider. But it's hard work, I'm told. Let's bring in Doug McLean.
How you doing?
Doug, is yoga hard?
Just, you know what? I looked yesterday halfway through my yoga class, and my heart rate was at 148.
Oh, jeez.
And at my age, my target should be probably 145 or so.
So you're close.
I don't
you're in the
know.
ballpark.
But I went like an hour, and it stays. It goes from 110 to 140 to 150. It's a tough work. Well, when you're on one arm, I'm doing one-arm push-ups now. I never used to do that. No, I'll tell you, I was thinking about this morning. I remember when Nick went through his body transformation when he was getting prepared to do the New York Marathon, and he changed his body. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was going to go head to head with Oprah in that New York Marathon.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was. I had to beat Oprah's time.
Is that true?
Yes.
I
missed it. She beat me by 7 minutes or 9 minutes.
Oh, really? Was she flying or are you slow?
No, well, she never ran the New York Marathon. Her time was out of Chicago, which was a lot flatter.
Okay.
But we were, yeah.
That's
But
my
anyway,
story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
So because today I have a strength training class in 15 minutes. So so what I'm going through is the same body transformation that Nick went through when he was training between yoga and now I got strength training and then I'll swim this afternoon. Yeah, I mean I weighed in at 193 this week, so so it's a body transfer, but it's more than weight. It's a body transformation, the same as Nick went through. And I don't have Gary Roberts. I just do it myself.
Maybe you become a trainer down there.
Well,
hey, you know who doesn't need any training is Austin Matthews. Just wind him up and let him go.
I'm the guy that fights. I fight with lifters for the 15-pound dumbbells. I fight with people to get them. Okay, go ahead, Austin Matthews.
Are you surprised at what he's been able to do?
Yeah, and I don't think I'm surprised. I mean, we go back to the very first time we watched him play in Ottawa, and what did he get, a hat trick in his first game? I mean, 4. How do we be surprised? But I think I'm a little bit surprised, and I shouldn't be, at his complete game, his back check, his takeaways. I mean, his forecheck, the way, and I saw somebody talking about the way he hounds the puck. I mean, he's complete. And then you couple that with the way Marner's been. I mean, Marner has been a big part of this too. Let's not kid ourselves. He has been a huge part of this. So I think that Bunting hasn't scored in 10 games or 15 games or something yet. He's an important guy with them right now. So look, it's a package, but he's the guy. He's the horse. So it's all about, and it's the same thing, and this is the unfortunate thing about being a superstar in the NHL, whether you're McDavid, whether you're Ovechkin, whether you're Sid, whether you're Matthews, it's all about playoffs, man. It's all about what he does in the playoffs. Yeah. And has he got – listen, I watched Stevie Yzerman for 5 years in Detroit struggle at playoff time, boys. It was tough. It was tough. And once he got the supporting cast, Stevie went to a whole nother level as a leader and as a player. Total player. That's what's going to be fun to watch here.
Before we let JB come back in here, just quickly, when Yzerman was putting up those historic numbers, was there anybody close? Was there a Marner with an Yzerman, or was he just doing it basically on his own?
I'm a little biased, and you know what? I said this. I said, Gerard Gallant, were you Marner to Yzerman, or was that just off? But it was more off the ice. He was Marner to Yzerman off the ice. He was a mentor to him off the ice. I said, "Oh, okay."
But it does help.
The closest Gerard got to that was when Stevie would buy $1,000 shirt in those days. Gerard would have to have one too.
What a world!
But it makes a big difference in the playoffs when you have someone almost of equal skill level.
Yeah, and big time. You got to have the supporting cast, and I mean, in Yzerman's case, it was Lidstrom, it was Fedorov, it was Larionov. Later. He needed, like when I was there, the 5 years I was there. I mean, we lost to Toronto after having a 2-series lead. Stevie, I don't know if he had any points. I mean, he struggled in that series. I know we lost to San Jose, struggled in that series, but then the supporting cast became a lot stronger. We had a young supporting cast when I was there, and he got a veteran supporting cast. So that's going to be the fun thing to watch this year in the playoffs. Has this supporting cast that Kyle and company have put together, is it enough to do damage at playoff time? Because Matthews, I'm telling you, you go into a series coaching against Matthews, it is the 100% focus. Matthews, Marner, how do we shut them down?
Yeah. Doug, did your stance on personal accomplishments for players change depending on the role you were in? Like, I know as a coach, it probably is less relevant. You don't care as long as you're winning. But I imagine as a team president, it's important for the organization to, for fans to come in. They love this sort of stuff. As a GM, it may be different. Did it change based on your role?
You know what? I'll never forget the night that Nash won the Rocket Richard as a 19-year-old in his second year in the league. And Jared had made the play for him to score that goal that got him the Rocket Richard. It was in Detroit. And I thought, wow, what does this mean for our fan base to have a Rocket Richard winner at 19 years of age in his second year in the league? Those individual accomplishments are big when you're a management guy trying to sell tickets in a new market. Toronto, I mean, it's still big. It's big for Kyle and Keith that this kid and whoever, draft first overall, and that he's lived up to everything that he was built. I remember Mark Crawford talking about this guy when he was playing in Europe, as an underage, and in his I think it was his draft year, saying, hey, this guy is special at that time. So he's lived up to it. Now, what happens at playoff time?
One of those players that you speak of in terms of supporting cast or guys that can come in and help a Matthews and a Marner is Nylander. And Nylander has looked a lot better in the last week. Justin has talked a lot about the demotion to a third line, but how would you manage a guy like that? And is Zherdev a type of guy that you look upon in your career and saying, oh my God, all the most talented, all the talent in the world, yet you're battling the inconsistency? How does Sheldon go about managing this the rest of the season?
Well, I like the pressure of the so-called third line. I don't know if it really is the third line, but I mean, I like the fact that he's making him work a little bit more for his ice time. But the funny thing, so he's on the second line, he's on the third line, whatever it is. He was almost 20 minutes in ice time last night. So they're getting him on the ice in key situations. They're getting him out there on the power play, and he's excelling right now. You know what? Sometimes it's good for a guy like Nylander. With all the Marner Matthews talk, it's good for a Nylander to be with a separate group and to be able to step up on his own, especially 5-on-5. That's what the measuring stick is for star players in the league. What do they do 5-on-5? Power play, we know what they're going to do most of the time, but what do they do 5-on-5 is where it really jumps out at most people, and that's where you want a guy like Nylander being better.
Doug, if you look at the Leafs right now and you say, who's their number one D? It's Morgan Riley. Pretty much universally, people give you that answer. What are your expectations on him? I think he's got 12 points in his last 7 games. I also think if I had to power rank the Leafs D based on defensive prowess, he might be last. What are your expectations for Riley?
Last. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, not including Liljegren.
Liljegren, and, well, you know what? I've got him as a really, really unbelievable number 2 guy in the NHL. That's where I've got him. I think he's a great number 2, and they still don't have the number 1 guy for me. But he is a valuable player for them. He makes big plays. He made big plays last night. He's just a complete character guy. That's what I like about him. I compare him a little bit to a Giordano when he was young. I kind of do, the character's there. There's a certain amount of skill there. He's a popular guy. He's a team guy. I watched Giordano. I mean, could he have made a better pass to Matthews last night on that goal? I mean, he put it right in the wheelhouse where players love to get it. And it was, that's a teaching moment for a lot of other defensemen on that team. So I love Morgan Riley. I really do as a player. I think I know he's got some shortcomings. I get all that, but I still really think that character wins out in the end.
Just switching gears a little bit, going around the National Hockey League, Doug Wilson stepping down. There's a guy that, one of your peers, general managers, had a great run, Mac, but like you, came close. But your thoughts on the direction maybe San Jose needs to go from here on in, because there is a sense that they also don't want to use the term rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, Doug had a great career. When you're 19 years as a general manager, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed talking to him, trying to make deals with him. I don't think we ever made one, but we were close a couple of times. I always enjoyed working with him and talking to him. A Hall of Fame player, and it translated into a real solid GM. The last few years, it's become really tough when you try to stay on the top too long, and you make some tough deals to try to keep you there. The Carlson deal comes back to bite him time and time again. I mean, but you make those deals because you're desperate to stay on top. You got a fan base that's a little bit spoiled, and with the regular season success and a little bit of success at playoff time, and then you make some tough deals that set you back. I mean, right now they're one of the worst teams in the NHL, and poor Doug. I mean, I feel for Doug. He's got health issues, but they need to move the needle here big time. Fan base not happy, ownership I suspect not happy. So they've got to fix this. And Doug will probably end up getting one of those fake GM jobs where you become president of hockey, whatever, and he'll finish. He'll have a great finish. He'll do the John Davidson, Jimmy Rutherford model of, having one of these great jobs,
Yeah, putting people around you to take the blame when things go bad.
I'll make the calls. You guys stand in front of the camera.
only JD, as I've told him many times, he's my idol. So that's good. You like when you're a president hockey ops, and your biggest issue is what house am I going to buy next?
It's actually a fair question, though. Like, what do you make of all these roles that are around NHL teams right now? I know in the Leafs organization for a while, they were paying Jacques Caron and Jacques Lemaire and Jacques Plante. I don't know who. They had all these guys that were advisors, I assume, getting paychecks. What are your thoughts on all the different roles?
Kyle Dubas is so busy. He's so busy that he's the only GM who hasn't returned a text I sent to him last week.
What?
I was looking for a little information for my book. He's the only guy that hasn't returned my text. So obviously he's upset about something I've said with you guys on this damn show, and he won't resubscribe.
Good.
I can get Doug Armstrong, Kenny Holland, Jimmy. I can get any of them to return a text. And this guy won't? Okay, enough already.
Maybe he just doesn't like you.
Maybe he tried to call me during yoga, which I can't have my phone on. The teacher won't let us have the phone on during yoga. Maybe he tried to call. But anyway, that's where it is. So that's okay. I'm a big boy. I'll get the information somewhere else. He won't like what I write, maybe, and that'll change it. Anyway,
you know what? In 30 years, when he retires and he tries to get on the shuffleboard court, and you'll stop him at the Boca Vista, wherever you are right now.
Deny him from membership at Del Boca Vista.
Hey, listen. Hey, pickleball today at 4 o'clock. I was playing golf the other day. By the way, I had an 83 the other day. I missed a 5-foot putt for a 39 on number 9 on the front. But anyway, my guy that I play golf with, he's a former college football player, and the other guy's an former NFL referee. Anyway, he says to me the other day, this is a big, burly weightlifter, guy. He's probably 68. To learn to play pickleball, Doug. I'd love to learn to play pickleball. I said, hey, I'll work with you. So that's just the way it is. I'm a bit of a teacher down here.
So let me get this.
Big deal.
Let me get this straight. Your strategy was to come on our show because the Leaf management team listens to this show every day religiously. Kyle will hear that you're calling him out on our show, and now you think he's going to call now?
No,
really?
I'm not. No, I don't care if he does. I'm not calling him out. All I know is when he needed advice in Sault Ste. Marie, I was the guy that had lunch with him 20 or 15 years ago. I remember that.
He owes you.
But anyway, that's okay. Don't worry about it. No, I don't care. I'm just joking. You know me. I'm just joking. I'm not serious. Don't worry, Kyle. I know you're busy. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about,
Keogh's going right to Kyle here. Saying, hey, you got to get back to Doug.
Okay. Did you split the bill, the lunch bill, or did you pick it up?
Actually, Greg Millen was with us at the lunch, and you know who's picking it up. Yeah, me.
Yes, you. All right, anything else you want to get off your chest? You want to call out Brendan Shanahan, or, you're good? You got any updates for us anywhere else around the league?
You know what? No, I'm anxious to see Vegas miss the playoffs. As you know, they fired my guy out there, so I'm anxious to see them miss. But I don't hold grudges.
That's a big point by Dallas last night.
I actually thought the same thing. I was like, "Oh, that's a big one."
That point hurts them
by Dallas, and it's about time Sagan and Ben actually. They haven't been very good, this pair. And for them to be a good team, I love Rick Bowness. He's a lifelong friend of mine. And I was happy to see them get the point and stay ahead of Vegas. I'd love to see them make it. I really would. I think they need to make it. There's a lot of pressure in Dallas.
Hey, any chance if the Ottawa Senators go up for sale that you and a few of the women in the yoga class could put a group together?
It's funny, I had a guy call me last week sniffing around about an NHL team, wondering if there was any deals out there to be made. And I basically said there's deals to be made if you've got $1 billion. So he said he was a little short of that. So he was, guys, everybody wants to be involved in ownership. It's if you're a big money guy, whatever sport it is. So I suspect there's all kinds of people looking and trying to see what's going to happen with the Sens.
I got to think
they're a viable franchise. They're a viable place. If you're looking to buy an NHL team, a Canadian city, capital, an opportunity to build a new building, some young players, I think it would be a pretty intriguing situation for some big money people. I think it would be.
you couldn't do yoga every day.
No.
If
You
you
own the
want.
team, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yoga stretch every day at center ice.
Yeah.
No.
How's that?
Our biggest thing, we're heading in the RV May 1st out to Montana, and we're doing the national parks in Montana. We're going for 5 or 6 weeks. So I just don't have time for that stuff. But I do have the yoga classes on my iPad. I'll be able to do them on the road.
Well,
so
we're
good.
so happy for you. And don't get a flat again. Didn't you get a flat in Montana 2
my
years
God.
ago?
No, New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, listen, we really appreciate you getting up early on
And I'm
breakfast with
final
Kyper and
comment,
Bourne.
I'm getting my tire fixed in New Mexico. I had to beg this guy to Rocky's Tire Shop to fix it. And then he said to me when he finishes it, by the way, I don't like your prime minister up there. I don't like your prime minister. I go, oh God, can I just leave here, please? Thanks for
Just trying to get
my
home.
tire. I don't want to talk about Justin right now.
Oh, my God.
See you later.
See you later. Doug
See you, Doug.
McLean,
Thanks.
former NHL president, GM, head coach. Oh, my God, that was so funny. Did he not call out Kyle Dubas?
A personal axe to grind there. I think it's good. Air it out.
I love that. And he's like, we went for lunch when he was at the Greyhounds. What was that, 15 years ago?
That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle, just humor the man.
Just send him
Just send him a text back saying,
Hi, Doug.
don't have time for you. Okay?
New phone.
I'm
new
getting a
this.
plaque made for Austin.
That's incredible.
All right. Need any housekeeping, Sammy? Tickets, we're good.
We're good. Just wanted to mention that Austin Matthews is now second in Leafs history with 9 OT winners.
9 OT winners.
Yep.
You know what's
five behind Matt Sundin.
You know what's
for first
how many power play goals has he scored this year? That's the other one that gets me is like I think he's got 16 or 17 power play goals, which to me
Tell you that.
like, the 5-on-5, the even strength goals.
Yeah, he's only got 15.
15.
Dreisaitl's got 20.
Kreider's got
Rantanen's
25.
got 16. Kreider's got 25.
25.
Wow.
So, and Kreider's great in front of the net, but we know how it works.
Yeah.
See that I was like Kreider in junior high.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything's coming from within this
Yeah.
bubble in here.
Yeah.
Still,
All right. Well,
still matters.
we'll take a quick break here, and we're back with Renaud Lavoie from TVA, and he'll help us tee up. Could we see a Carey Price sighting this weekend? What do you think?
Boy, that would be wild. Just in time for Matthews to get 50 and 50 on him.
Oh boy, would you want to be Carey Price and face
one more.
Matthews
I'm gonna go
and
one more
Marner?
game.
I'll go on
Really?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday's good.
We'll ask Renaud after the break. You're watching and listening, Real Kyper and Bourne. We'll be back after this.
Real Kyper and Bourne on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
JB, you don't come across to me like a guy that doesn't return text messages.
I am too quick. I'm too available.
Do you sit there and go, okay, how long do I need to? I don't want this person to think that I have no life and I'm just sitting here staring at my phone. So there is a really fine line between when and how and all of that, right?
You know what has changed for me? It is. But you know what's changed for me, Kyper, is because I get a lot of messages, just like I'm sure you do, direct messages, questions, stuff like that, is I'm getting better at feeling, I don't feel as obligated to get back immediately to like direct messages and things like that. Those I'll take my time. You text me, I'm no dubis. I'll get back to you.
You know who's a great guy to ask is our next guest, Renaud Lavoie, because this guy, much like all the great insiders, have to get those messages out, calls, texts, messages. First of all, Renaud, thank you for joining us as always.
Thanks for having me. It's always good to hear your voices, guys.
Yes, you
too. Let me ask you as I pick up this conversation, as a whole, how good are, say, whether it's scouts, general managers, your insiders, how quickly or how frustrating is it sometimes when they don't call? What's the percentages of the general managers that would return a call or a text?
Well, it depends sometime on how they feel, right? It's not an easy job. Let's be honest here. They have tons of pressure from their team, the players, coaches, from obviously the owners. But I'll say this. Easily, it's more than 60-70% of the time that they're going to reply easily. But I understand sometimes why they don't. Sometimes you're calling someone or you text someone and they don't answer. It's because the pressure is really, really high. They need to reassess. They need to take a step back before saying anything. And I understand it's a business. Now with social media, you need to be really careful. At the same time, internally, their teams, social media teams are letting, the GM know that scoops needs to be, or media stories or news needs to be, first on their account. And after that, people are going to get it. So there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of pressure, internal pressure. But I'll say easily 70% of the time, there's no issues. So, and you, I think in our business, and you know that, Nick, you need to be maybe one or two steps ahead. If you know that a storm is coming with a team because, they lost maybe 3 games in a row, and if you need an information, call the GM or whoever you need to talk to inside that team. Maybe at that moment, don't wait another week if they're 0-6. I don't think you're going to receive a phone call back quickly. That's the way I see it.
So, Renaud, if you were to send out a few text messages today and said, when will Carey Price return to the net for the Canadians, what would you expect to get back?
Yeah, you know what? I just saw Carey at the practice rink here in Toronto. He looks good. He looks fine. He's happy. In my mind, Carey was supposed to play earlier this week versus the Ottawa Senators, obviously because of a virus that went through his family. He didn't skate for a week to 10 days. So now he's back on the ice. He still looks good. Next week on Monday, they're playing the Winnipeg Jets. I believe that's really when he's going to come back. But it's tough right now to be 100% certain because you need to, first of all, know if he's going to get the green light to play. So he needs to talk to his doctor for that. So we'll see how things are going to evolve. Probably we'll know more today, if not tomorrow. And if there's a chance that he's playing on Monday, we'll let the world know. If not, does it mean it's a step back? No. But the more he's going to play by the end of the season, I think it's really going to help him and the Montreal Canadiens to see what's next for him, especially during the offseason, what needs to be done. Carey wants to play, so that's the bottom line. And there's no, he wants to win that Stanley Cup. So I don't know where that will be, if it's in Montreal or if he wants to stay with the Canadiens. It's his choice. But one thing for sure, I don't believe that Carey Price is done.
Renaud, with 11 games to go, do you feel like there's a strategy of X amount of games, or do you just get that first one and see where it goes from there?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it, because you need to see, practicing is one thing, especially for a goalie. Playing is totally another. And believe me, if you look at Carey Price first practices when he came back maybe 3 weeks ago, I'm telling you, even during morning skates, he was pushing really, really hard to see how his knee's going to react. And he was there the next day. That was a real positive. You see that the swelling is not an issue anymore, which is like really, really good for him. He's pushing hard. He's trying hard. After that, well, that's a practice. And you know how it is. During games, you're going to be pushed around. You're going to have flares on you. Probably one of your D's going to touch you, is going to fell on you. So how is he going to react after that? That's another great question. So like I mentioned, they're playing Monday versus the Jets at home. After that, they're playing in Columbus. I believe that if he wants to play, he's going to return in front of his fans and the Montreal Canadiens fans, not necessarily in front of the Blue Jackets fans.
Renaud, looking at the way the season has gone for the Canadiens, it's been a remarkable turnaround for Cole Caulfield since Marty St. Louis has taken over. He's fifth in rookie scoring now, or for goals anyway, right behind Trevor Zegras. Like, the guy's just climbing the list here. 17 goals now. What's changed? Do you notice him being a more effective guy now, or is it just finally going in for him?
I think it's all mental.
Yeah.
And you're going to call me crazy, but it's all mental. It was the training camp for the Canadiens was way too hard. And I'm talking not only, regarding what happened to Cole Caulfield, but as a whole, as a team, way too hard. These guys were exhausted. They started losing games after another, and it was really, really tough to go at the rink, and it was nothing was going in the right direction. And when Cole Caulfield is not smiling, you see that there's an issue. If that guy is having fun around his teammates, when he's coming to the rink, when he's getting his coffee and he's in the middle of a conversation and everybody's laughing at him, you know that things are going really, really well. He likes to steer the pot. He likes to be a good teammate. You see him on the ice, it's easy to see if he's, having fun out there. And he's always competing now with Carey Price. And if it's not Carey, it's Brendan Gallagher. They're all over each other after practices. That's Cole Caulfield. It's all about having fun, playing the game the right way, scoring goals. And Martin St. Louis, which is really interesting, is always saying he needs a swag. When he's playing with his swag, that's where, and that's when he's really good. So probably the only, I remember, especially in Vancouver, Martin giving in some tips on what to do with the puck in the high circle. That was interesting. He scored a goal like exactly like that this week. But otherwise, I think it's more mental than anything else. And that what Martin told him is, you need your swag back. If you don't have your swag, and Martin was the guy with a big smile on the ice too. He was a real pro when he was playing, but he had a swag about himself. And that's exactly what you see with Cole Caulfield. Like, when he feels like he's in the middle of everything, well, it's a good day. And obviously, when you score 16 goals in 26 games, things are going really well for you.
The swag started the day they fired Dom and hired Marty St. Louis.
In a way. And it's really sad for Dominic because I believe Dom is a good hockey coach. I believe he's going to work somewhere in the league. Is it going to be as a head coach? We don't know. But I know that he can really, really help a coach to put a game plan in place. So we'll see for what's next for Dominic. But yes, you have a guy like Martin St. Louis, Hall of Famer, never drafted, unbelievable story, and a person who's got so much energy. I'm not kidding. I mean, I covered Martin when he was at the Ottawa Senators training camp in 1996 or 1997, and I remember him being the best player on the ice, and he was cut after 2 or 3 preseason games that he didn't play. And I asked Jacques Martin, why you cut, Martin? And he said he's a little small and he needs to learn how to play without the puck. And Martin said to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, well, I told them I always have the puck. How do you want me to play without the puck? I always have the puck. So, that's Martin. He's waking up in the morning. He's thinking about hockey. Going bed at night, it's the same thing. He's trying to find solutions, but he's trying to bring a swag to this group, and to prove everybody that, you know what, if you're in the NHL, it's not by luck. It's because you're a skilled player. And if you look at the way the players played with him, it's totally different. Brett Kulak, now with the Edmonton Oilers. Suddenly, we saw a lot of skills in Brett Kulak's game. Why, do you think? Because he had the green light. Show me your skills. That's what Martin told them day one. I want to see your skills. I want to see you having fun. That's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're seeing. And it's working. Is it perfect? No. And I don't think Martin wants it to be perfect, to be honest with you. He wants the players to feel good about themselves. And for him right now, it's really important.
We're talking to Renaud Lavoie from TVA Sports. Renaud, just one more on Marty St. Louis. Foregone conclusion, he's coming back. Foregone conclusion that he'll sign a multi-year deal. He certainly put himself in a driver's seat to not be the most underpaid coach in the National Hockey League. He can really write his own ticket here, can he?
Yes, but Martin is not about money. I think, and it's easy to say. I mean, guy played had a long career, I think he's coaching for the right reason. I don't think he's coaching to break the bank. Obviously, he knows where he stands. He's a rookie coach. I don't believe he's going to make $6 million next season. That's what. And I don't think that he wants that either. I believe he wants to be paid fairly. I think the Canadians are a great organization, so they'll take care of them. And they'll find a solution quickly. I don't think money will be an issue, to be honest with you. I think for Martin right now, it's all about his family, what his family wants. Are they going to move to Montreal? Probably yes, but kids are playing at the college level, so there's a lot of family decision that needs to be made. I believe that when the season will be done, he'll have a good conversation with everyone to see where they stand, and after that, he'll decide if he wants to come back. If I was a betting man, I think it's easy to say that Martin is going to come back. He loves it too much, but I don't believe that Martin is going to look at the Montreal Canadiens and say, you know what, I think I'm going to go coach elsewhere. No, I don't believe it's going to happen.
So big game for them on Saturday night, Renaud. The Toronto Maple Leafs, part of the fun of being a Habs fan this year and in all years is raining on the Leafs parade. That seems to be enjoyable.
Well, yeah.
How have the Habs been playing, and will Saturday night matter to them?
It will, because they're playing well versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's the beauty of it. I remember doing an interview with Morgan Riley after the first period between the Canes and the Leafs last game they played at Bell Center. And I asked him, I said, it's crazy how hockey gods are working. When the Leafs were not a good team and the Canadiens were a better team, well, it was always tough for the Canadiens to beat the Leafs, or the Leafs were beating the Montreal Canadiens, and they were the better team at the time. At that time. Now, it's the other way around. The Canadiens are struggling. The Maple Leafs are probably top 5 in the league if you look at how good they are, and the Canadiens are finding ways to beat them. And I believe that tomorrow is going to be a big game for the Leafs. They're playing it so well right now. And I know there's a lot of people who are probably looking at Tuesday's game saying, well, they had a big lead and suddenly the Panthers came back. They're playing back-to-back games, which is probably two of the best teams in the league in Florida. It's never going to be a walk in the park. And, they were capable of, tying that game, pushing that game to overtime. They won a big game last night in Dallas. It's really not easy to win in Dallas either. So I believe tomorrow is going to be a real struggle, to be honest with you, for the Canadiens. But I've been saying that since a long time for many reasons, because the Leafs are so good. But we'll see. I believe that probably Austin Matthews and Marner and all the big guns are all tired of losing games versus the Montreal Canadiens. So probably they're going to wake up tomorrow knowing that those 2 points are key, are really important. I know it's a slim chance, but there's still a chance that they can finish first in the division. It's a slim chance, but it's possible. So we'll see how it's going to turn out.
One more, Renaud, before I let you go. And speaking of rivalries, I liked it for no other reason between Ottawa and Montreal that it got the attention of, hey, I want to see these two teams play next game. And of course, I speak of the Gallagher calling out Stützle for embellishing or faking an injury. But where do you see that fallout maybe in the next game? And what'd you think of it? What did you think of Gallagher doing it?
Well, you need to remember one thing. What Brandon said is this. He said that the fact that he was injured, I don't think there's any issues there. It's the fact that he was injured. The trainer came on the ice, and he was, there at the face-off to start the power play from the get-go. And what Brandon said is, when I was 10 years old, my coach was telling me, Brendan, if you're falling on the ice and I need to come out to get you, you're going to miss the next 3 shifts, right? So I think it's not about him being injured. It's about being there to start the power play right after. And I believe that, in a way, there's a code in the NHL. If you look at that face-off, Joel Edmondson was pretty upset and whacked him a few times on the stick just before the puck dropped, looking at him and, what are you doing here? Sending a message, you're not supposed to be on the ice right now, buddy. By the way, is there a rule? If you're injured, how come you're capable to start the next play if you're injured? I thought there was a rule that was saying that you need to go back to the bench. I guess that rule is gone. But I believe at the same time, if you're injured, the trainer needs to come out. Sorry, but you need to wait for the next shift if you want to come in. And I think that was the issue there, and I don't have any problem with that, because honestly, if the culture in the NHL is not respected, I wonder what's going to come next. And I'm happy to see that veterans around the league are sending a message to younger players that, things are done this way in this league, and you need to respect that. And probably, Brady Tkachuk will be a little tired of hearing other team or other players talking about Tim. And Tim, by the way, is a great guy. I don't know if you ever met him, but he's an unbelievable person. I'm pretty sure that he wants to play the right way. I'm pretty sure that he didn't meant to steer the pot here. I just think that he only wanted him to do is score goal. That's the only thing he was hoping to do. So I don't have anything and nothing against him, and nobody does. It's just a question of the culture of the game and making sure you're doing things the right way.
Renaud, we always appreciate your time on our show. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy your weekend, please.
Thank you.
Renaud Lebois.
All right.
TVA. Those conversations, JB, you've been around the game long enough. Mm-hmm. We always have those conversations. That guy's a faker. He's a phony. He's this, he's that. But those are usually comments.
Big insult.
For us to have on a bench, in a dressing room, not necessarily called out in public.
Mm-hmm. So, Renaud mentioned the coming back out thing. You only have to stay on the bench if they stop the play for your injury. If they blow the play down because you're injured, you can't just go back in the next shift. So that's the only time that comes into it. Still, though, it's a big deal, I think, to go in the media and say this guy's a diver. This guy, you're calling into question someone's character, someone's.
Yeah. And the way Gallagher plays, at some point, he's going to stay on the ice a little longer than he'd like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now you're really putting yourself out there to, there's going to be some times when maybe you can't even get up. You want to, and you may not to. And yet, what's the first thing everybody's going to say?
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who's flopping after that. So you're dragging yourself off the sheet.
I expect him to stay on the ice to get a call. Mm-hmm. But there's always going to be that part of Gallagher's game now that says, holy crap, man, no matter how hurt I am, I better get up.
Yeah.
Because I just called out a guy for not getting up. And I wouldn't want that upon me. I wouldn't even want to begin to go down that path. Gallagher did, and there's no going back right now. But this is where, for the rest of his career, he's going to have that part hanging over him that, man, oh man, I just got to get up the rest of my life, or else people are going to sit there and go, oh, wait a second.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. You got to be so careful with who you're critical of and how. It's like if we're playing golf and I'm like, Kyper, he can't hit a fairway. That guy can't drive a golf ball. And then I put my tee in the ground. It's like, I don't want to be the guy, you got to be careful. You're doling out your criticism.
Better make sure that your backyard's clean here.
I do want to say for anyone listening right now, it's our Friday afternoon, even though it's not the afternoon. So text us at 590. We will be taking texts and tweets and responding to all those things. This is actually my favorite segment of the week, where we have no plan. We have very little plan, and we take questions and all that. So group chat as well here, YouTube channel. If you have anything to ask, fire away.
Who are we kidding? We had no plan today.
But we don't tell that to people. We
showed up like
pretend that we do have plans.
And well,
9:50, packed a dart.
Sammy, listen to me. We pretend that we are a well-produced show.
Well,
do you see where I'm going with this?
Muskoka Matt said, question for the show, when will Sammy do his job?
I think Sammy always does his job.
Take a beating on this chat.
Celebrity Sammy.
Take a beating.
That's what we're going to
chat,
calling you from here on in. Celeb Sammy.
Yeah, so those guys I played golf with, like my buddies, they have not stopped hammering me about getting recognized.
Yeah.
I have to deal with it every day now.
When do you sign your first autograph?
Honestly, if somebody asked me for my autograph.
Do you have a good signature? Do you have to go work on it?
I put my beer league number 4 in there.
Oh my gosh. The first time I signed something beside Tim Curry, looked at my autograph, my signature, and he said, that's just chicken scratch.
Your generation has a good autograph. Can you show me your signature? Your generally legible. I don't know if yours is or not, but yeah, see, it's nice, Kyper. Oh, it's so good. The Kyper is beautiful.
Let's see for our YouTube followers.
Yeah. The like Bob Bourne, you check out Bob Bourne in there. It's just a thing of beauty.
I went and fixed it because Tim Kerr called me out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm dotting my I. I'm making a K at the end of Nick.
It's very thorough.
And then
Nicholas.
I went KYP has to be noticeable, and then they can figure out the rest after.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Bob Bourne, as I mentioned, is a large B, but you can tell who signed it, and I think that's
Sammy,
the point.
tonight I want you working on your signature.
Okay.
All right. We got questions coming in.
We do have questions. Let's start with a banger from the text line, because I feel like we kind of neglect the text line. I want to get this one right off.
All right.
Taking it all into considerations, contract, points, age, etc. Who do you take? Matthews and Marner or McDavid and Draisaitl?
I'll go first. McDavid and Draisaitl. Right? McDavid and Draisaitl for sure. Draisaitl makes 8 a year?
More than that. No, 8.5.
8.5 won a Hart Trophy last year. McDavid, I think you say, is the most.
So those guys are at what, 21 million?
compared to 23 probably total.
11-6 and say 11. So I think the Leafs are in for about $1 million more, $1.5 million.
Yeah, maybe $1 million more actually. What's Connor makes 12.5 or something, doesn't he? Yeah, 12.5.
Hey, listen, we're talking about 4 special players.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just about your preference. It's about, I don't know, your style of play.
I got to be honest. The two guys in Toronto defend a hell of a lot better.
Well, that's...
I'm changing my mind. It's
Thank
Matthews
God.
Marner. I'm
Thank
changing my
God.
mind.
Barney, I was about to.
It's Matthews and Marner.
Listen, again,
Thank God.
he's been buried a little bit through history with Austin Matthews, but Marner should be at least in a conversation now, a legit kind of no forced MVP type of guy as well.
Yeah. I don't know. He'll probably finish. He might be finished on 5th this year in the voting, I would guess. Something like that.
He's up there now, and his two-way play. And again, you watched last night. His skating doesn't waver.
What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that like he can play 3 and 4 nights,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end, his skating can look as good as game one than game 3. He.
This is why playoffs last year is concerning.
A great
he's
skater,
so good,
and his energy remains high,
Yeah.
and his edge work, and again, the goal to Morgan Riley last night,
Mm-hmm.
like
To bypass
world-
Matthews, a lot
world-
of guys wouldn't have done that.
world class play.
Yeah.
This comment might piss off Oilers fans, but I think Matthews, Marner, and Marner are on the level of McDavid as opposed to Draisaitl. I think they're both above Draisaitl.
Yeah.
So if you're taking
Defending Hart Trophy champ, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
That's how I feel. I watched them both play hockey.
Yeah.
I think that at this moment right now that they're both ahead of him.
I'll tell you what's helping both those guys too, is that there is still a sense that McDavid complains, and there was a whole thing about, not drawing penalties, and you heard it. That was one of those things where the best player in the world isn't getting calls, and now he's leading calls by a wide margin. The only time I've ever seen Austin, and you don't see it out of Mitch at all, like these guys just play.
Yeah.
The only time was off the overtime goal where you saw, you could just see the disappointment or the frustration out of Matthews for a non-call play. Other than that, you've never heard a peep out of him.
It's a really good point. I regret even having thought of it. Now that I think about this more, it's not that close.
Hey, listen, you were on the couch an hour and an hour and 45 minutes ago, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, that is true though. They just keep on trucking.
I really think it's gonna pay off for them, that there's gonna be that one call maybe in the playoffs where it's just like, this guy just plays. He doesn't embellish, he doesn't whine, he doesn't complain, he's not looking at me, he's not embarrassing me. And he doesn't make me feel pressured to make calls. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
And you know what, at the risk of someone from
works.
Edmonton media getting a hold of this comment, but should the Oilers not be better in that soft division with those two? I don't even just mean this year. Should they not have run just the two of them in the Pacific Division over the past handful of years? Should they not be better?
There's an argument to be said that for whatever reason, Tippett didn't get out of the depth that Jay Woodcroft's getting out.
Yeah.
And maybe if somehow the players around McDavid and Draisaitl woke up like they have with Jay, they'd be in that position that you're talking about.
Right. It just feels like, okay, you go play
And
LA,
Koskinen and
Anaheim,
Smith.
San Jose, the amount of games
and Koskinen's been so much better in the back half of the season.
That's helped. Yeah. Yeah,
So-
they haven't had goaltending. It's true. All right, Sammy, what else we got?
This is from Zeno Bravo on YouTube, and it's not a question. It's just in all caps. Sign Matthew Nyes.
So did they
that-
lose last night?
They're out. They're out.
Oh, buddy. I
So
saw
now
they were
what?
down 3-1.
So now what? He scored a sick 2-on-0 goal. You see that?
Yeah.
They did like a 3. Him and his buddy there did like a back and forth 3 times and put it in.
I got
guys
a
finished
case
it.
of little Buddha that says that he's going to find a way to get in the lineup
Yeah.
at the end of the year. So why wouldn't you? As long as him and his family are on board, is this not an easy decision?
And it's kind of the best case scenario for the Leafs. You know, if he wins the national championship, they party after. I don't know if you get a version of him. You know, like they have the chance to get him in here. The one thing I have seen is like it'd be pretty unprecedented for him to come right now as being such a late pick, being a second round guy to go play 1 year. He's 19 years old, go right to the NHL after playing 35 college games. I mean, it'd be pretty wild. But still, he's shown that he can do it. He's that level player.
And just on the college conversation here, Abrazizi, did I say it right?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Looks way better to me than a Nick Robertson situation at any point this year.
Yeah.
He's just, to me, he's just
Fits that role better.
got a little bit more of an awareness. Again, 5'9", about as heavy as a bag of feathers, wet, but a little smarter. Puts himself in easier positions to stay in the game and yet not leave yourself vulnerable.
He said some looks. He's going to get one here soon. Abrazizi.
I think he's had some great looks. yes.
Also, shout out to Robertson, who has gone back to the Marlies and played well. He's got like 10 points in 7
So
games.
I'm not
6
writing
goals.
off Nick
No, no.
Robertson.
Yeah.
I'm not. He could still find a way to get it and find his role, his lane to stay in when it comes to what kind of player I am. There's still some real high-end potential here, but it may just take him a little bit more time.
But it does speak to everything we said leading up to the deadline that I think it was a showcase to trade him. You know, like if they were going to make a big move, they gave him the opportunity to play in the NHL and play with good players. It didn't work out, and they immediately sent him back to the Marlies.
Mhm.
You know, I think that was the plan, that he was an option showing teams that he could play at the NHL level.
This one's from Warrior Womp on YouTube. And this is right in our wheelhouse. What is the ideal food to eat on the golf course?
Well, watch golfers. Who's not eating a banana
Well,
these
it
days?
ain't pizza.
Well, there might be some pizza back here, boys.
I tell you, though, like, nobody can have a growl like me. Like
A what now?
A growl. Hungry.
Okay.
Right? I could
That's
eat
why I asked you.
constantly.
Yes.
But I got to fight like crazy the temptation of grabbing something that will make my hands a little bit greasy. You know?
To me, if you don't
It's
get a
just-
dog at the turn, you failed yourself.
If I get anything on my hands, and sometimes I'll be like, I'm putting on sunscreen, and I'm like, "What are you, an idiot?" You, like go, and now I'm gonna go hit off the tee box.
That's
I'm
why
like,
you
You'd
spray.
be Nicholson to the
You need
two
to spray.
sprays.
I got to go wash my hands. Sorry, guys, and I screw up the tee times because of it. But
Remember
I can't.
Nicholson's 2-glove run?
Don't-
The lefty was going
I
the
don't
double
like any-
black mitts.
I don't like anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure it's like a dry bun on a hot dog or something, and no leakage of the mustard or the ketchup, or else you are screwed the rest of the round.
Little grease missile at the turn. It never hurt anybody.
let her
But
go.
It
Need
depends
the
on
onions on
it
there.
depends on tea time. If I'm playing at 7 a.m. and I'm making the turn around, around 8, I like a egg salad sandwich. If they have one, if they have a
All
good
right,
one.
All right.
And then if I'm making the turn around noon, it's always a glizzy.
So today is it going to be Jays or Masters on the main screen for you guys? Well, Jays are what time's that?
It's at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And
Okay, so we're
I'm gonna be at the game.
not that early. You are going.
Yeah, I'm going. So I'm not gonna be at the game, but I will be watching the Masters up until about 5:30.
So what's the magic cut line, you think?
no idea.
No, well, we're guessing here. I know you don't have any idea.
I don't know, what is it usually at the Masters? Blake Murphy asked me this in the
Wow,
morning
listen,
show
it
the
could
other day.
be,
Is it +2?
what
See new
the
radio.
the first Tiger Masters win, wasn't he like 21 under or something?
I think he was finished 18 or 19.
Oh my God.
Because DJ was the first guy to get to 20 in
and he shot 40
2020.
on the front.
Okay.
Yeah, the 40 on the first
Yeah.
front. Yeah.
So we assume after yesterday that we're looking at probably a 8, 10 under to win, 12 under.
Yeah, it usually ranges from 12 to 14. I'm really kind of nervous about Tiger today because yesterday was such a huge moment for him going out there, shooting the 71, holding on for dear life at some points.
See,
it's supposed
you're
to be
making
tough.
a mistake right
It's
now.
supposed to be tough.
I know
I'm
it's
couching
tough.
it. I'm couching it. I don't want to.
But you're talking like, I don't know who the reporter was the other day that just said, like, my biggest mistake is always
Verity. Doubting or ever doubting him?
Yeah, doubting him. It's like he's Tiger, and like he does not show up at this tournament unless he thinks he can win it.
It's just crazy that he can't like read putts. He's doing like the little curtsy, like his caddy Joe LaCava's getting down and doing the reading.
So when we come on the air Monday, boys, and we're doing a final breakdown of the full final round of the Masters,
And
instead
I'm
of
counting
Doug
my
McLeese,
Joaquin Neiman cash.
who has won? Who wins the Masters?
Dustin Johnson.
Mm.
DJ. He's the best. I mean, he's the most talented
Kip?
golfer right now.
I don't know. Could it be less known? Like who are the?
I'm saying Cam Smith. Cam Smith's the guy.
Cam Smith?
Yeah, and it's because I'm very financially motivated to say that.
Yeah.
I asked Sammy the other day, who's the best golfer in the world?
So
and Scotty Scheffler's ranked
That's
number
where
one. He
we
said
are
it's
with
Scheffler.
sports broadcasters now, right? It's not objective viewing anymore. It's who you got your cash on.
I like to put the cash on the guys that are good that I like.
We had the cash chats last night for the hockey broadcast for the first time.
Who are those guys?
That's
And why
Mike
do
and
I?
Anthony.
Why do I want to believe them? Like
Because they know this stuff. I think. I don't know.
Well, then why aren't they hockey analysts?
I don't know.
I don't know, Kyper. I will say the betting, there is a effective way to use it to talk about the game, what you expect to see. I do think that it can be well done. I think that right now is a tough time as you watch everyone try to figure out a way to incorporate it. Right? It's tough. It's tough to figure out how to. For example, tonight the Islanders are plus 152 in Carolina.
If those guys give advice and somebody starts losing some serious money, like would they have to be like minor hockey referees and get escorted to the parking lot?
I hate every time I put my tweets out there with my bets and someone like DMs me and they're like, "Hey, thanks for the heads up on that play or whatever." I'm like, I know how many times I'm wrong, so I don't want to. Don't trust. Here's what I'm doing. You're free to make your own decisions.
Well, boys, been a heck of a week.
Big Friday.
We started early today. Let me just end this by saying let's never do it again.
Agreed. This has been very weird.
Weird.
I just find, because a lot of my analysis is based in I read a lot and I look at a lot of numbers and when I wake up and have to show up, it's hard.
Sammy, you're heading to the ball game today?
I am heading to the ball game.
Okay, give me an over-under on wins for the Jays this season to win the East.
They need 93.5 would be the number. I would take the over. They're gonna crush this year.
100 wins this year by the Jays?
No, they're gonna finish with 97.
97.
It's a lot of
All
wins.
Right. And does Guerrero hit as many home runs as Austin's scored goals?
Wow.
Amazing question, really, that I wish you had not asked at the end of the show.
No. What's he gonna finish with 61?
Maybe.
Well, no, he's not Roger Maris. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Lance Romance, thanks for a great job today, pal. Jennifer, as always. JB, have a good weekend.
You too, buddy. Enjoy the show.
So glad you made the show today.
I am too. That would have been bad.
Sammy, and all of you watching and listening, give us a rating and review if you get a chance. Love to hear from you. Enjoy the weekend.